Good evening and welcome to the City Council meeting of the City of Lenoir for Tuesday, March the 3rd, 2026. We welcome you here today. Today is Election Day, of course. I hope you have been out and exercised your right to vote today in this community and for our leadership, state, and others across the nation. For that, you have till 7:30, I think, to vote this evening if you haven't done that. So we encourage you, please, to do that if you still want to and can. As we always do, we'll start in just a minute with a moment of silence and our Pledge of Allegiance. As we always do our first thing, we'd like for you to keep a family in your thoughts and prayers as we go to that time of moment of silence. The family of Mr. Jeff Joins. Jeff is a community leader here in this community for many, many years and a radio broadcast golden voice, as we always would call him, and he was a great leader in our community. He was part of Blue Ridge Electric as their president, chairman of the board for the last number of years there, and he has been a great supporter of Lenoir and Caldwell County for many, many years. Caldwell Rotary, one of their founding ones there with that club and many other things. So please keep Rita and his sons and their families in your thoughts and prayers as they try to adjust to this time without their father and grandfather here with us. So please thank you and keep that in mind. Now please rise for a moment of silence. Thank you. Please salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We will get started tonight with our agenda. And our first item on tonight is the 2025 annual report of the Lenoir Police Department. And we welcome our Chief of Police, Mr. Andy Wilson. Chief Andy Wilson.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Let me get this pulled up real quick. So again, yes, 2025 annual report for the Lenoir Police Department. Thank you for giving me the privilege to present this to you. I'll give you some of the highlights throughout the report. Obviously, it's a 22-page report that is in your packet that will be posted online to the police department's website through the City of Lenoir, so for everyone to see, as all of our other annual reports are on there. I think I looked at it today. I'll post it all the way back into the teens. So we'll get into this. In 2025, crimes against persons, we had 451 of those. That was a 16.24% increase from 2024 to encompass one murder in 2025. Crimes against society, we had 410 of those, which represents an 8.28% decrease from 2024. And then crimes against property, we had 897 of those, which was 5.68% decrease from 2024. Calls for service, 261 animal complaints. That's a 20.43% decrease from 2024. 767 civil disturbances, which is about 11% decrease, and 915 domestic disputes, which was a 5.78% increase from 2024. Another one of our categories that we saw an increase in was involuntary commitments. We had an 18.06% increase in 2024. That's the highest it's been in the last 4 years. So that number steadily increases. And so it's something obviously that we have a watchful eye on, but a lot of that we have no contributor to that. People go into the magistrate's office and seek those involuntary commitment orders on people that may be within our jurisdiction. And so that number has steadily increased, the highest it's been over the last 4 years. Overdoses, we had 99 of those. It was a 10.8% decrease from 2024. And also the opioid-induced overdoses was a 23% decrease. We used Narcan 64 different times with 50 likely lives saved in 2025. So our officers carry Narcan on their person, and they have been for several years now. So we have administered that 64 times. A lot of times what you find is law enforcement's the first person there. They're there before fire, before EMS, and so we carry that on our person. All of our officers do, to be able to administer that when needed. Criminal charges, 2,577 felony and misdemeanors, 290 drug charges, and 96 alcohol violations. We had 1,021 crashes with 3 fatalities in 2025, 3,839 vehicle stops, 2,438 citations with 1,214 warning citations. Investigations divisions recovered $309,591 worth of stolen property. Our narcotics officers seized $3,052,606 worth of illegal narcotics, and that includes assisting other agencies. And 69,861 cash and property seized. Our patrol division answered 24,174 police calls for service. That was a slight decrease from 2024. And those calls for service are the ones that someone calls into, either 911 and/or calls the police department requesting a police officer respond. 11,813 special checks or house checks is where we either someone fills out documentation to be able to check on their property, whether that be business and/or residential, and just special checks throughout the whole entire city of Lenore. If there's things, construction going on or different areas, we check those areas constantly. And 933 call follow-ups, and that typically is tied to investigations, to where we're following up on cases and following up with people. Our investigations division investigated 2,365 criminal cases and 250 nuisance cases. Of those criminal cases, 29 of those resulted in search warrants, 17 knock and talks. In the nuisance cases, 150 of those were owner abated, and that's where the owner themselves, they've been given a notice of violation, and they conduct whatever, whether that be grass, whether that be junk and debris, whatever. They get that fixed and within code, and so they abate that themselves, and 27 of those had to be abated by the city. Our communications division answered or processed 52,813 phone calls and 315 after-hour water and sewer service calls. So that's a busy department. That's constant. In all, 39,566 citizen contacts. Out of those 39,566, only 21 of those resulted in a use of force. That's a 44.7% decrease from 2024, which is also equivalent to 0.053% of the time that we have a contact with a citizen may end up in a use of force. That's low. It's very low. Our guys are trained in crisis, intervention, de-escalation. We continue to do that with all of our newer officers. That's a standard for us and something we continue to push. And that's these numbers are direct results of that. Other statistics, we processed 16 ABC permits, 35 backgrounds, 160 Crime Stopper tips. We conducted 10,452 training hours, and we have 32 officers that have professional certificates. That's 58% of our staff, which again, and I know you've heard it in the past, that enables us to have a 7% discount on our law enforcement liability insurance. So those professional certificates matter. It's a well-trained professional officer that understands the ins and outs of what the job is and what it calls for, and they have to get, it takes years to acquire that professional certificate. Some of these certificates can take upwards of 12 years to acquire, and so we have 58% of our staff that hold those certificates. During 2025, we did some slight restructuring. Our C platoon, which is our community resources platoon, was in support services. We realigned and put those officers back under the patrol division. And some of the thought process there is our community services platoon are in uniform. They're our SROs, our community resource, our downtown district officers. And for efficiency and effectiveness, everyone that's in a uniform day in, day out is under one division. That for management purposes, for allocation of resources purposes, that makes sense to have it that way. And because when you have them in different divisions, sometimes the communication may fall. And so we made the decision to put them back under one division, and so that's where that comes from. We were also able to add an IT specialist, which aids in digital forensic analysis. As technology advances, we have to be able to keep up with technology. From phones to cameras to computers to, you name it, it's all way over my head. But we have an IT specialist in the city that is a part of IT already. They are a sworn officer with the Lenore Police Department. But this individual aids us in those digital forensic analysis, and so that's a big deal. Strategic investments over the past year, obviously the automated license plate readers. We were able to upgrade our in-car communication equipment to be Viper Phase 2 compliant. That was mandated by the state that we were not compliant as of July 1 of 2025. We were able to upgrade that in-car communication equipment to become compliant. We also upgraded our in-car mobile data computers. Those mobile data computers in the patrol cars houses everything the patrol officer does. They can remotely report, and so they don't have to come to the office and sit down in front of a computer and do their incident reports or their accident reports or any of that. They can do everything from their car. They've been able to do that for years, but with those systems, you have to continually upgrade those computers just like any other computer for the systems to be able to function, properly and correctly. And so that was a needed upgrade. Also, digital evidence storage upgrades. As we have began to tackle the evidence storage. I think you've probably heard for years our evidence storage is packed, and so we've been combating that problem. And one of those items that we were able to secure was digital evidence storage, which frees up a lot of space. And so that's how most do it, and that's how we need to continue to do it as we move forward. Just a couple highlights of the year. We had our 20th Citizen K-9 Academy. We had 21 participants. It's a 6-week program, basic obedience. That's between that and the cadet camp, probably the two biggest. We have a ton of programs going on all the time in our schools and our different groups throughout the city. But our K-9 Academy is one of the biggest ones. And then, obviously, you met the 3 new K-9s that we were able to acquire in 2025. Mayor Pro Tem Perkins there. If you want, I can have them come in, get a picture with them. But you were able to meet these 3 K-9s. They're doing great. This one in the middle is probably the one of the most famous ones we have. Everybody really likes Genghis, and so he's He's a fan favorite. Our cadet camp is another one of our big programs that we have. It's held in the summer. This one was summer 2025. We had 30 students for an entire week that they come to the police department, and we have different outings and different sessions with them for an entire week. And that program continues to grow. We have tons of students put in for that program, and we originally had it for 20 to 25, and we were able to increase it just a little bit this past year, but we're about to our limit. With it takes a lot to keep up with 30 kids for a week, and so my heart goes out to teachers and daycare workers and those that have to do it day in, day out. But great camp. We see these kids in the schools or at events here in the city. And I mean, they'll come up to you, they talk to you, they'll tell you stories about kids camp or cadet camp. It's just been a really, really positive, good program. 2 employee recognitions. Our officer of the year was Corporal Logan Barrett, and our employee of the year was our master telecommunicator, Rhonda Howell. That's voted on by everyone in the police department. It's anonymous, and so these 2 individuals do an absolute fantastic job. No surprise here that these 2 were recognized as the 2025 Officer and Employee of the Year. And with that, obviously, the document you have is 22 pages long. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have. Mr. Mayor?
Thank you, Chief.
Yep.
Any questions, Chief Wilson, concerning the report?
Chief, are those computers in each car assigned to an officer, or are they assigned to a car?
They are assigned to a car.
Okay.
And so.
So several officers may be using them.
Well, yes and no. Typically, the officer is assigned to the car and the computer is assigned to the car, and so it's one officer. Because we have so many different systems that they have to log in, log out of, state, obviously, systems and different things, and so that computer stays with the car, but it is that officer's computer.
Thank you.
Question.
Good report.
Anything else?
Yeah. Anything else? Thank you, Chief.
Yes, sir. Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Good report. Appreciate all the work that goes into that. Okay, we'll move on our agenda. We do not have any matters scheduled for public hearings this evening, so we'll move on to our consent agenda items. Tonight is 3 items. They're minutes of the city council meeting of Tuesday, February 16th. Item B is the minutes of the committee of the whole meeting of Tuesday, February 24th. And item C is this is a bid award. This is for the Pennell Street Gateway Pedestrian Bridge Repair. This is a recommendation awarding the contract to Shotcrete Contractors Incorporated for the lump sum of $59,700. Shotcrete Contractors is the lowest responsible bidder, is appropriately licensed, and is adequately equipped to perform work of this nature as submitted. So those are 3 items on the consent agenda. I will open it up to council for any question, concern, or in a motion when you're ready.
Mr. Mayor, I'd make a motion to approve the consent agenda items A through C as presented.
Thank you. Councilmember Thomas makes a motion to approve the consent agenda items A through C as presented. No other question. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. That is unanimous. All right, next on our agenda is a time of request and petitions of any citizens. If there's anyone who would like to address the council, this is the time to do so. If you will, we want to come forward, give us your name and address. You're welcome to do so. At that, we would ask you, if you would, to keep your comments to about 3 minutes, if you will, because we do have an agenda to do, so we would appreciate working together on that, if we can.
Hello. You guys most of me know me, but I'm Jenny Wheelock, 209 Maple Drive in Lenore.
Yeah.
I've been following some of the zoning issues that have been in the news, and they're things that are near and dear to my heart because they relate to our ordinances and to our housing issues. So I was paying attention, and I watched the meeting that y'all had, 2 weeks ago. And having sat through so many of these meetings, I have to tell you that I cried. I mean, it touched me because these folks that came up to speak to you were brave. This is a scary thing to do. And I think what they said was that there is a need in our community for emergency shelter that's not covered in any of the other things that we have tried to provide. And I think the city got a little bit of a reprieve from it last winter because a lot of people had vouchers for hotels because of the hurricane and the hurricane relief. And this winter we're hurting. And when you talk about ordinances, and I'm a fan of ordinances, and I wrote a lot of the ordinances and spent the better part of the last decade enforcing the ordinances. But I don't think that you're being fair in your depiction of the ordinances. I think that saying our hands are tied, we're just following the rules, is not fair. Because we all know that the rules can change. And the rules that are being enforced against these sleeping pods are rules that this council has control over. I like a good thought experiment, and I have been thinking, how would I classify these sleeping pods? Because they're tricky. They're not really houses, right? They're not an emergency shelter in a specific sense. And our zoning code is silent on them. There's not a rule that you can point to say they're not allowed, just like there's not a rule you can point to say that they are allowed. That means the discretion is entirely up to your staff, your planning board, this board. There could be a different outcome here. I think it is unfair to say that the ordinances are in place to protect people's safety while saying that emergency shelters should be in the county because we simply can't accommodate them under our zoning. I think that means the zoning should change. And I think that it's fair for everybody to understand that the ordinance that forced the sleeping pods off of the property zoned general business, the same zoning that allows hospitals and allows places to sell sheds where you've got all of these sheds for display. You know, these little sleeping pods were not allowed. Not because of a regulation, but because of the lack of a regulation. They simply don't show up. I think there could be a different interpretation here. I think that they could be allowed as an accessory use to the ministry and thrift store use that this group already has. The code allows for 10% of the gross floor area of the principal use to be an accessory use. You could make the determination that these pods are like the other uses in this zoning district and are appropriate here. In the meantime, you've got folks scrambling to move on the fastest zoning enforcement that I have ever seen happen, which is impressive and was done correctly as far as I can see. And I did reach out to this group, and I did meet with them and talk to them because I wanted to understand the full issue at hand. We give people a minimum of 2 weeks to mow their grass. And yet these folks had 7 days to relocate these pods. When they relocated them to a property they thought was okay, which I figured would not be when I heard the comments at the last meeting. They were immediately enforcing us again and another 7 days. We're spinning our wheels and wasting resources, and I think that we should at least be honest enough to say we don't want this in our community. Not our hands are tied. These rules were designed to protect you, and they don't allow this. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
My name's Patrick Christie. I'm the one built the old pawn shop. I didn't break no ordinances, didn't break no laws. I reviewed all your codes, and I want to verbally announce I want to appeal your decision, and we need to relook at this. Y'all can have anything you want to do, hate me in any way you want, like me, it doesn't matter. This wasn't about anything like that. We had to either take them pods or lose them. You know what? I got 20 more coming that'll be here Friday. I do disaster response. We're one of the best in the business. That's why the state relies on us. That's why the federal government relies on us. This whole state works with us. So why won't y'all work with us? We work with every county in North Carolina except for y'all. So maybe y'all need to look at yourselves, because there's got to be an issue there. You ain't got to like me, but I'm good at what I do. That's why we got a plaque and got an award for Helene. You know, FEMA's been to our warehouse. They know everything we do. The state knows everything we do. Everything that we did, we documented, we sent to the state level. We sent it to your emergency management. Even when it stopped, we still kept giving our numbers to the state. So we followed the rules. And that was our emergency during an ice storm. We had the pods, why not use them? I got fire extinguishers. You want me to put smoke detectors and carbon monoxide in them? I'll do that, no problem. They're FEMA regulated and permitted, so why can't you permit them? If FEMA can use them, why can't y'all? I mean, think about it. I ain't that bad of a guy. I just don't like being chased down.
Thank you for your comments.
Good evening. My name is Joseph Twist. Need my address? 107 Forest Hill Drive. As Patrick said, you know, I mean, we're doing everything that we are supposed to do. Is try as far as guidelines. What Patrick didn't tell you is, just in the past 2 weeks, we've got 6 people fully employed. I mean, regardless, after everything, you guys keep trying to push us and push us and push us. Well, that's not keeping us from stepping forward and doing what we got to do. I mean, we're still out there helping people. Like I said, we got 6 people full employment. I mean, and we're doing that on our own. We're going to keep fighting this until we get it right. You know what I mean? We got to come to terms with y'all. Y'all got to come to terms with us. Because I mean, we're gonna steady, and we're gonna keep bumping heads, and we're gonna keep bumping heads until there's a line that we can both come to and agree on. We want to help these people, and you guys say you want to help. Show us. Meet us in the middle. I mean, I'm a firm believer in the Lord, and you guys say you are. Well, if we're going to walk this walk, then let's walk it together. You know what I mean? Let's all believe in the same God. Let's all hold hands, and let's do this together. You know what I mean? This is getting old. I mean, every single one of you can be a part of this. We want you to be a part of this. We don't want to bump heads anymore. We want to come to terms. Let's come to terms. Let's agree on something. Let's work together. Let's both shine. It's not a one-sided team. You know what I mean? If we're going to play the game, let's play together on the same team. That's all I gotta say. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Alice Fuston. I live at 107 Forest Hill Drive. I think you guys ought to believe in people. Anytime one of you guys could become homeless. Just, I was homeless and I got on my feet thanks to Patrick and Denise. Believed in me, you know? And that's all it took. I was a drug addict all my life. I'm 4 years clean now. Because it took them to believe in me to know that, hey, there's something out there, you know? Look, so we have, like he said, 6 people got a job, on their feet, doing well now, because what, we believed in them. We, you know what, matter of fact, we took drug tests, all these people that was there in those pods, and everyone come out clean. When they first got there, they weren't, but now they are. So what, we got to throw them back out in the street because we can't have the pods so they can get on their feet and get somewhere? It's not right. It's not right. You got to give these people a chance. Some are out there just because they have to be. It's not because they choose. They have nowhere to go. So what they turn to is drugs. You know, you ought to look at the big picture. We are helping them, and help us. You know, help you. You know, just give it a little thought. Come to terms that we are somebody. You know, they're somebody. They just need a little help. You know, we can't push them because they're homeless. I understand some of them are way out there and stuff. I understand. But give somebody a chance, because that could be one of you just as well as it was one of them and myself. That's all I gotta say.
Thank you. Anyone would like to address it from the COG or planning or chief fire marshal's office?
Hey, I just want to clarify some things, I guess for the public record. I believe you all already know this. My name is Hannah. I'm the Lenore Planning Director, and neither site where these pods had shown up had gotten property owner permission to host homeless folks on site. This is my time. When at this second site in Valmead area, when I spoke with Ms. Varner following the stop work order, she made it clear that she wanted the pods removed from her property, and she was distressed that they had been placed there without proper permission. Her son holds power of attorney over her affairs, and his humble hands had not obtained authorization from him to place those on site. Ms. Varner reported to me that 8 individuals had moved into her home and, without her consent, caused damage and removed some of her personal belongings. And she had explained to me that she had only allowed for one family to move into the home and not additional occupants. And she expressed concern about potential penalties from violating city ordinances. And given the lack of consent for the use of her property, I informed her that the quickest way to have the pods removed would be to put a trespass agreement in place with local law enforcement. Both she and her son willingly put the trespass agreement in place last week. I and the Lenore Planning Department support the need for transitional housing options, but the programs and processes must follow safeguards established by state and local law. And oversight and standards protect vulnerable populations, as well as the community at large.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Chief?
My name is Chris Jacobs. I'm the chief or fire marshal for the city of Lenore. I'm going to try to cover a couple things. We actually crossed a lot of different topics here. Again, like last time I talked, we talked about definitions. In the fire world or fire code, building code, all that, there's no such thing as transitional housing. There's also nothing that says pod. If I look at these pods and I have to classify them into something, the closest things that may appear that they fall into would be a tent. It could also potentially be, during the Hurricane Helene, they came out with pallet houses. Now, don't confuse me, I'm not talking about we took pallets and made a house of it. It's a thing that comes on a pallet and we build it. It's a lot bigger than what these pods. In reality, from the things I've looked up online, these are like campers. You might be able to help me.
They use them for different things.
Right.
We use them in the disaster world for volunteers, house people. They're used for duck blinds. I mean, they're used
Right,
for
right, and I saw duck blinds. So here's our issue. We have to look at the disaster world. We have to look at things like shelters, emergency shelters, and even what those definitions mean. So if I'm in an emergency declaration, I've even had conversations with county EM. We want to use this building right here as a emergency shelter, all right? So emergency shelter has absolutely nothing to do with the homeless. It has to do with people in need. That includes the homeless. Does everybody see what I'm saying?
Yes.
All right, so we had a discussion, myself and County EM, about a particular building, and I said, we can't use that building because it doesn't meet the qualifications of an emergency shelter, okay? So then we have to come up with, well, is there a place? So what do I need to have an emergency shelter? And that's going to be your fire alarm. It's going to be your sprinkler system. It's going to be all those things. It's going to have 2 people there full time. There's a lot of different regulations that go along with that emergency shelter. So let's talk homeless shelter, because we're not in a state of emergency. We're not in a disaster. We are like regular times. So if I want to house these people that are homeless, we call that a homeless shelter. So what does it require? It requires the exact same thing as an emergency shelter, all right? Has to have that smoke detection system, has to have that sprinkler system. It also, there's another thing out there that's called an overflow shelter. That's during that state of emergency, when the emergency shelter overflows. It gets reduced. It doesn't have to have anything but the same amount of population. It's got to have those 2 people. They got to meet their requirements. But all it has to have is a fire alarm. So I guess what I'm saying is when we start looking at this from the fire marshal's office, we're looking at what are these buildings for? What are we using them for? We're looking at the planning department who is listing it as a certain thing, right? And we're not listing it as that. This is not a disaster.
So was you gonna have the people freeze to death out
No,
there?
I'm not, and we talked about that last time, correct?
Right, but
Yep.
that's got.
Sir, wait just a minute.
Go ahead,
Wait,
Tom.
wait.
Yeah, go ahead.
1,500 degree, it's got to be over 1,500 degrees before
You're
it
good.
catches fire.
You're fine.
Good.
Okay. So anyways,
I just wanted to let y'all know that.
right. The idea of this is all about the definitions. If we classify it as a particular topic, if I want to call it a pod, then that pod has to be listed throughout all this stuff, including North Carolina Fire Code, North Carolina Building Code. What are we going to do with this? What keeps it safe for our people that are going to be living in this particular device, structure, whatever it is? Okay? Because again, if I let them freeze, that's me. If I don't let them freeze and I put them in this thing and they die in it, that's still me. So I have to be really careful, just like Hannah does, about what we allow and what we don't allow. It's not about, can I change the ordinance and make it what I want? I can change the law on this highway that says we're going from 35 mile an hour to 55 mile an hour, but that doesn't mean we're not gonna have accidents, if that makes any sense. So again, when it comes to disaster, we're talking about this. What we're talking about right now, we're talking about this. And, you know, I'll be welcome to answer any questions you have.
Clarification, those rules are not city Lenore rules, correct?
No, all the rules I'm talking about come from North Carolina Fire Code. We are looking at a new code that could be coming out in the next couple of years. And probably if you went anywhere in North Carolina, you're gonna have this exact same problem. I don't care if you're in Caldwell County, I don't care if you're in Catawba County, Craven County. Every year, and we talked about this before, my chief and myself, this goes on because we're trying to make a baseball fit into the basketball game. And that's not how it works.
Yeah, but bottom line, temporary, we can do anything under 160 days, 180 days. Code allows it. I hate to say that.
No.
Y'all trying to beat around the bush. I'd like to speak again when it gets done.
Anything else?
That's pretty much it. Like I said, it's all about the defining topics of what we're talking about. And that is on the shelters themselves.
Okay. Thank you,
Okay.
sir. We
Yes, sir. Thank
appreciate
you.
that.
Mhm.
Should I read these now? Yes, sir. Go ahead.
This what Hannah said, that I didn't have the homeowner's permission and all this, that's all a lie. The homeowner's sitting right there. Her son does have power of attorney. I speak with them every single day. She's been in town since yesterday. I know what the rules are. I know what the codes are. I understand them. I can split them up 20 feet and run them for 180 days. Your codes say I can. That's temporary. There ain't nothing that says that I can't do that with that type of shelter. Because you ain't, for it to be implied that I can't do it, you had to have thought about that and took that in account for that type of structure for it to warrant being against it. You never even thought of it, never seen it, so therefore it can't apply to that. Because it don't apply. It's nothing like anything you've ever seen. It's something new.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
On your end result with these pods, are you trying to classify and use them as a homeless shelter or emergency disaster?
I'm gonna end up doing both. I'm gonna use them disaster.
Okay.
I'm gonna use a lot of them for disaster because I got more coming. And I want to do transitional. I want to help people get off the streets. Whether y'all help me be part of it or not, I want to help get people off the streets. Right now, I have 45 staying regular. I'm right at a 33% rate on clean and productiveness of them doing good. I seen roughly 120, 130 people out throughout the time period when we were feeding every day. Most of them didn't stay. Some of them would come stay a night, and that was it. Get out of the cold. I mean, but out of the 45 that stay regular, I got 15 right now doing good. That's 33%. Anybody else done that good out of the blue, that quick? I mean, let's go with statistics. That right there says it's worth it. If my wife and myself and my team, the people that help me, and we got that kind of results, I think we need to think about it. Because of y'all's stuff at that percentage, Leo, when it was open, I don't think there was 10 people staying there on average. And how many of them were getting clean? I'm not forcing them to get clean. I tell them, you want to do the drugs, get off the property. Go down the road, do them. I figure if they're going to OD, they're going to OD before they get back. Let's be truthful. I mean, but they need somewhere to lay their heads. This is better than kicking them out of camp, from camp to camp to camp, all over town cleaning up trash. I had it clean, keeping it clean. I mean, you know, if I was keeping the junk pile, that'd have been one thing. You know, this could be really a good thing, and we could use it as a role model for the rest of the state and try it. I mean, this has been, I don't know if y'all realize it or not, it made national news. So y'all might want to really consider this, because I've seen some emergency managements out of Iowa saying they were gonna reach Trump about this, reaching the governor's office, the new AG that likes going against corruptness. I mean, so, and the governor's office, lieutenant governor's office, everything. You know, all we're trying to do is work. Let us work, we'll work with y'all. I've been willing to work. I ain't had nothing but pushback since I've been in this town. I'm gonna continue to do the Father's work, whether you like it or not. And if I broke so many laws, why ain't you got me in jail? I am a concealed carry guy, so I must not be too bad of a guy. If I'm registered to carry. I mean, so that don't get handed out to everybody. Thank y'all.
Ben, Amber, anything from?
Please.
Well, we got you go ahead and doing all that. Come on in. Yes, please, come on.
Hello, everybody. My name is Angela Varner. I own the property. And what got me involved with this was watching the first city council meeting when the mama came up here and talked. And she had those two little babies. And that really touched my heart, that she was sleeping in the streets, and that anybody in this board or in this room was okay with that. And you'd come up with a code to say that was okay?
No.
Seriously?
No.
That's not right. And I don't know nothing about government. Only thing I know is I voted for Trump, and I believe in him wholeheartedly, and I believe he's here to make some changes, and I think he's doing it, and I pray to God y'all get on board with it, because it's not right to throw anybody in the street. We just had a girl got ran over. A homeless lady just got run over and killed right down the road from here. The driver that killed her got out and looked at her and got back in her car and drove off. Why is that lady driving out here on these streets and she's not been arrested or charged with nothing? We got a dead lady up here in the street. But we got everybody on the board, the police. I've had all kind of police after me. I ain't never had a cop after me in my life. Except for one stupid thing my dumb husband done. Didn't have nothing to do with crime, I promise you. But I want y'all to put into your heart and your soul and seriously think about this. Go over at my house. I would invite any of you to come in my house and watch these people. You see this guy right here in the white shirt? You see him? I've tried to help this man for 5 years, get him off the street and keep him from dying. Today, he is sober at my house. We got all these services here, right? He ain't been helped. He ain't been helped first time till he got with Patrick. Does that not touch y'all? He's been RHA. He's been everywhere. I brought him food. I've loved him. I've met him where he was. And every Christian in this room needs to take this in your heart. And I'm sorry for any problem I caused in this town. I looked up. I told Patrick when I seen that meeting, I called him after. And I said, I got a little piece of land over here in the county. I've been trying to get it remodeled for this very thing. Pastor Paul Pruitt, to tell y'all, I came up here in 2018. My daughter was murdered in North Carolina. Her murderers had never been charged for what she done, for what they done. But I called Pastor Pruitt and I said, I can't look at God right now. I'm so mad at him, I can't stand myself. And it's making me feel ugly inside because I can't pray because he took my daughter from me. I gave her, I said, God, I'm giving Lisa back to you. She's lost right now and she needs you. I can't help her. She was yours before she was mine. And she was dead a month and a half later. And you talking about cussing God, honey. I lost all my religion. I was mad. I wanted my daughter back. But I didn't want her on the streets on drugs. So she's with the Lord. Y'all please help these people. They're begging for help. I know you got all the resources, you got all the bureaucracy, you got everything else, but where's your heart? Where's that at? We got codes, we got cops chasing me up and down the road. I don't even have no say-so over my own life right now, my son does. But I got a voice, and I hope y'all hear it. And please be compassionate to these people. But let me go back to how the pods got on my property. I told Patrick about I had the acre of land. Well, I got this house over here. I want y'all to go look at it. Look up my taxes, okay? Go look up my taxes from last year. And watch what I've been paying and what I gotta pay now on my disability check, okay? My house got 3 walls on it right now. And my taxes went way past anything I can afford. But I keep my taxes paid, because I do without. Well, I said, Patrick, do you have any construction experience? He said, I sure do. I said, well, I need these pods poured. I need this pad poured over here, my concrete pad, so I can get my bathrooms built. I've hired a bunch of people around here. Every person that's came to my property has ripped me off and took my money and didn't do right. Y'all want to come see it? I got all their names, because they sure have stole from me. And I'm upset about it, because I couldn't afford to be stolen from. But anyways, he said, yes, I can pour your pad for you. I said, well, let's don't exchange nothing. I said, my heart's in this. If yours is, I looked up to see in the county, Caldwell County, what is the provision for this? And I sent it to him, because I did a little research. And it says, if you're doing construction on your property, you can have temporary housing on that property, right? Well, if these guys have to sleep in them pods while they work on my house, how's that breaking code? They're doing what the code says. Does that make any sense to any of y'all? Because I'm not educated, but it don't make no sense to me at all. And I really didn't think I was breaking the law. And if I have broken the law, please forgive me, because I don't want to be a lawbreaker at all. I abide by the rules and the laws the best of my ability. I don't try to do no kind of crime. And I'm not against y'all at all. But please, please take into consideration, look at this one right here. Where's the other one? I don't want to put anybody's business on the street, but these people go right up here every morning, and they get legal medicine from this government to keep them off the streets and keep them off drugs. They're in my house. They're doing good. You know, everything didn't work out in the beginning. I was upset. My son was upset. We was all upset. But I came up here because I said, I need to know what's going on. I got to sit in here with y'all and figure it out. Who's lying to me? And I've been manic. I've been extremely manic ever since this started. Every bit of it. And I know I got my own problems, but I got a heart. And I want these people right here, if they have to move to my house and I stay with them and I take care of them for the rest of their lives so that they can be safe and off drugs and they can get their driver's license and they can go to mental health and they can get healthy. I'm for that. And I don't know why y'all wouldn't be. I don't. I can't sleep. I can't think. I'm going crazy. Help us help them. If Patrick's willing to, he's done every bit of this for free. Donations, period. No money. He ain't on no board. He ain't got no committee. And all them's mad at him. They don't want him in his club. That's their club and he ain't invited. Okay? That's just the way it goes. I love all y'all. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to y'all. I apologize. But please, let's help these people. Okay? And I promise you, there's no drugs on my property. There's no alcohol on my property. Everybody there's fed, they're bathed, and they're loved, and they're nurtured. They're going to Social Security to apply for things that they need. They would apply for housing, but I think a lot of them's on waiting lists or just can't get no housing. They don't have a driver's license. But I do got a success story. One guy that was here with his cutest little thing y'all ever seen, he's just a baby. I mean, he might have been 20 years old. He had a dream of becoming a chef. That's all he wanted to be. Clean cut, looked like he just walked out of the lawyer's office. When I met him the other day, he said, I get to go to Texas. He said, Patrick, help me get my ID and get some paperwork, and I get to go be a chef. Patrick put him on a bus and sent him to Tennessee and paid his way. He called back and he said, I've never been more happy in my life, and I love y'all and thank y'all. That's success. He's been here on these streets, lost on drugs and everything else you can think of. But he picked himself up. He needs somebody to love him, meet him where he's at. And that's all I gotta say.
Thank you.
Thank y'all so much.
Good afternoon, or good evening. Amber Bradford, I'm with the Homeless Response Team. The last time I spoke, it was extremely important to have a discussion about how we need to stop this us versus them mentality. But I want to just stop and pause for a second because there's been several things that have been said that I just want to make sure that we're clear. So Ms. Varner did reach out to us last Wednesday with the Homeless Response Team. I spoke with her at length last Wednesday, actually, and I'm without giving you the details of the call, I will tell you there were some concerns that were presented to me that Hannah had mentioned that were presented to her. And so I think just for transparency purposes, just to make sure that we're aware, she was very appreciative, returned the call, she was very frustrated. And I'm not sure if that has been remedied now with the relationship that you have, but there was concerns about the individuals that were on your property. I won't get into all of the details, but I do have that information if needed. She stated multiple times she didn't even know, as she said, that this existed until she watched the city council meeting. And I was, like, as I told her, I said, you know, I meant what I said when I said we need everybody at the table, and we've got to figure out a way to come up with a solution together. I gave out our information. I've reached out to His Humble Hand several times via email and phone. Several of the groups that are working with homeless individuals with services in our area to ensure that they had our contact information. Just because, as I've said, just because we're connected to a system that is a little bit bigger, that actually makes the difference, right? You have to be plugged into those systems. There's been a lot online just with that us versus them mentality. I will tell you, the folks sitting in this room, we've had calls with everyone here to figure out a game plan for this to make sure that it's done in the correct way. But I think it's very important that if we want to move forward and move the needle forward, we have got to absolutely figure out how to do those things correctly and how to stop showing up to meetings to yell at people and figure out to come up with a solution, which we are doing, right? You need to be plugged into regional systems. Somebody online was discussing what was available. There's 227 beds. That's an illusion. It's not an illusion. Those things exist. If you are perpetuating that message out loud, that takes something away from somebody to say that they shouldn't use that. We don't have enough resources for our homeless population, but we can. We can be the change agents for those things. So I just want to say, we did, again, speak to Ms. Varner. She did kind of express issues with the pods. I know that you had mentioned having the lady with the kids move into your space, and then you were concerned about other people who had moved in. So I did have that discussion with her, and we kind of moved past that and just said, listen, I'm not interested in any of that. How do you want us to help? Gave out information for our team. I think we've actually had some folks call our team trying to figure out how to navigate complex systems, and they give us a birth date or they'll give us something and say, hey, I'm trying to get an emergency shelter. If you can get people in housing a lot faster, I would love to have you as a part of our team, because it doesn't exist. Emergency housing doesn't exist anywhere outside of our shelter spaces.
If you got 233 beds, what's the cost of putting people in the bed if they're empty?
So actually, if you would like for me to answer that, I can get you into supportive housing if you are looking to get connected based on substance abuse a lot quicker than I can if you're a single individual looking for things. There are things that exist across our region, not just in Caldwell County, across a 4-county region that we serve. So if you're interested in having that information, I'm happy to provide it to you. Do you guys have any questions for me? Do you guys have any questions for me? I didn't ask that last time, so I just want to make sure that you guys, if you had questions, I could answer those.
Thank you. No, any questions?
Just to clarify, when you say "we," you're talking about the Western Piedmont Council of Government
Yes.
and your homeless response team in particular. Thank you.
Yes, I am. So we actually serve 4 counties, and McDowell is our 5th one that we serve. We are the Unsheltered Access Coordinator for North Carolina Balance of State. I think that information was put out in a bulletin. That's just a big bunch of language to say that we're connected to regional systems. We're connected to DSS. We're connected to RHA. We're connected to VIA, to partners, to nonprofits. We staff individuals biweekly based on needs. So if you have folks with complex needs, we work to get those connected to housing needs. Housing is not the only thing that we do. So are you looking to get transportation, medical, documentation, workforce? Those are the reasons that you need to be a part of conversations that are bigger than just one group doing it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
For your time. Thank you.
One more, go ahead.
Okay, Western Piedmont Council of Government is a nonprofit, correct?
No, it is not.
They've answered it is.
No, it's not.
Profited $22 million since it's been open in a few years.
Not true.
Statistics says it is.
Well, that's, I don't know where those came from. Anyone else want to address the council? I would like to make some points here that we have talked about, and that this is not an attack rebuttal in any way, shape, or form. We understand, but let me talk about this a minute. His humble hands, just to say, never received authorization for placement of these pods at 532 Harper Avenue or 1716 Blowing Rock Boulevard. Both property owners asked his humble hands to remove the let me speak, remove the sleeping pods from both locations. The property owners at 1716 Blowing Rock Boulevard executed a trespass agreement with the Caldwell County Sheriff's Office and the Lenore Police Department to remove the occupants from the property. That is true. His humble hands never reached out to the city or county to ask where they could place the pods, what laws they need to follow, and what permits they would need. All of these things could have been done. Let me finish, please. I'll let you speak. With respect to sleeping pods, the City of Lenore zoning is similar to most every other city in western Piedmont area, which includes Caldwell, Alexander, Burke, Catawba counties, and our city staff talk to many jurisdictions, and no one allows sleeping pods, including Morganton, Hickory, and Boone, just to name a few. There are many nonprofits in Caldwell County and western Piedmont, and she said this a minute ago, that already provide beds and many services for the homeless people. I'm sure not enough. All of these groups have followed city, state, and federal law, including the zoning code, the state fire code, the state building code, and the state transitional housing regulations. All of those have been followed. That's not what's happened here. And we need to, if you're gonna do something, you need to sit down before you do it and at least work with our people and what's going on.
Can I reply back to that? Because I like to review some of that, because for me, I did go speak to Hannah, went over this, and I did have her permission. Her son knew I was putting the pods there. She told you just a few minutes ago that she wanted me to go work on that house to remodel it and put them pods there. Okay, so I have permission from her.
I'm just
So
telling,
you're
I'm just
sitting here
telling you
saying
what
it's
was happened on it.
But
We're not, we're
that's
not gonna
true.
debate
She just
this.
sat there and told you that wasn't true. You're saying I never had permission. She said I did. She told you that.
She has a power of attorney that,
I spoke with her son said it too.
well, I'm just telling you what happened with the police and the sheriff's department, that's all. So, no more we need to discuss about this. No, ma'am, we're gonna close the conversation tonight. We have talked all we need to talk
It's not
about
all
it.
about the pods, it was the people that it was freezing weather. Nobody stood up and said, come to my house, come to my house.
We understand, thank you very much.
You just wanna cut me off.
Well, everybody to speak that has to speak. Thank you.
When y'all ready to work with me, call.
Okay, thank you. We're going to move on. We do not have any reports of our boards and commissions this evening, so we move on to report and recommendations of our city manager, Mr. Hildebrand.
Mayor, council, we have a planning board meeting scheduled for Monday, March 9th at 5:30 in these chambers. The City County Service Committee will meet on Monday, March 9th at noon at J. Hugh Royal Civic Center. There will be no economic development meeting this month. That's been canceled. The ABC Board will meet on Thursday, March 12th at noon, or at 2 o'clock, rather. The Lenore Business Advisory Board will meet on Thursday, March 12th at 6 p.m., third floor, City Hall. The Lenore Leadership Civic Learning Academy will meet on Monday, March 9th, 5:30, and that'll be third floor, City Hall. And Mr. Harris may want to mention the participants of that program. You've, I guess, made some contacts today. You want to, I'll give you the floor if you want.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mayor, Council Manager. I don't have everybody's name memorized yet.
Just numbers.
That's in the class, but we did get 31 applications, and we're going to have 20 people in the class. So I sent out an email today congratulating the folks that were selected. And I think we've had, asking them to reply, make sure they can commit. I think we've had 8 or 9 people reply so far, so I'm pretty sure we'll have a full class by Monday. I think it's going to be a great program, so thank you for your support.
Thank you.
Those that are on the wait, if there's a waiting list for those, if the class
Yeah,
is not full.
yeah, I have a
think that's
waiting
all
list,
that.
so if somebody can't commit, I'll reach out to the next person and we'll invite them. So we do have interest from the people that didn't make the class and were somewhat disappointed, so, but I told them we'd have another one.
That's good.
So-
Good we have good interest.
Yeah.
Good job.
And lastly, the Parks and Recreation Board will meet on Monday, March 16th, 6 p.m., and that'll be held at the Aquatic Fitness Center. I guess we expect to be done with the building by then to have it over there. Okay, that's the plan right now, March 16th, 6 o'clock, Aquatic Fitness Center. And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Any questions of the city manager concerning anything that's going on? Thank you for that. Any report from our city attorney tonight?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, council, city manager. Nothing we'd have to report at this time.
We appreciate it. Thank you for being here tonight to fill in for Mr. Rohr. We wish him the best, but I know he's having some family issues that he's trying to deal with.
Happy to do it.
We'll be thinking about him. I do have one report from the mayor's office. I have a board appointment. This is a recommendation for the council to appoint Mr. John Arnaud to be appointed to serve on the planning board for an unexpired term ending in June of 2027. This appointment was announced at our February 17th meeting, 2026 at the city council meeting. So I would present that to you for recommendation to serve on the planning board. Entertain a motion for that.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve your recommendation for the appointment.
Thank you. Have a motion from Councilmember Presswood that we approve the recommendation for appointment of Mr. Arnaud to the planning board for the unexpired term as presented. No other question. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Thank you. Any reports from any of our council members tonight? Anything to come up?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to really commend Josh Harris and the folks that are going to be doing this class. I spoke with a class of 10th graders at High Brighton High School this past week, and even though their teacher is fantastic and doing what she is supposed to do, there's just so much information. It's hard for people to understand all of these things because there's just so much information at the city level. So I really appreciate, as a member of the community and this council, that you're having this type of class, and I hope it's successful. I wish you the best with it, and it hopefully is something we could continue going forward.
Yes, sir.
And I'll just add that I am organizing it, and I am giving one of the presentations, but the manager and all the directors are doing all the rest of the 12 classes. So thank them as well, because you're correct, it's a lot of
Thanks, folks.
information, and we live in an information overload age. You know, there's just so much to
That's
try
right.
to keep up with. It's difficult for everybody, so,
And it's easy to get confused.
for sure.
Okay, thank you for that. Thank you, Councilmember Beal. Any other comments? If not, we stand adjourned.